Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. We have got a great class today for you all. Welcome to Yeshua's Millennial Prophetic News. Real talk for real people. We're coming to you live from the house of Yeshua, the house of Micaiah, eternal, the Lamb's bride. We are going to be bringing some news and some prophetic events, current events that are going on now, and tying them into the prophecies and how they relate. And this message is only for the believer. We're going to start out Yeshua's class and Yeshua's news program with an opening prayer honoring our King Yeshua. Almighty Heavenly Father Yeshua, supreme priest and teacher in all the earth, great Father Yeshua, a servant and a slave in your house, Micaiah, Jacob, asking to approach your throne, calling out in unity with all those who are like-minded after the order of Melchizedek. You being, as your seed, Yeshua, you being our leader, our teacher, our guide, our head, and our judge, Yeshua. And we do say shalom to you. We bless you and thank you, Yeshua, for this great prep day, enabling us to make our weekly preparation for our weekly appointment with you, Yeshua. I ask that you would be with us and put your words into our mouth, that we would be a blessing to all those in hearing of this news, that they would be awakened to righteousness and informed by you, Yeshua, and that the things that they need to know, that you would have them to know for the bringing forward of our King, of you, Yeshua, and of your kingdom that is eternal and without no end, that offers peace, joy, and life abundant for all those who partake of you and your teachings and your news and your kingdom, Yeshua. We bless you and praise you and offer ourselves up to do your work and will always according to your righteous pleasure, Yeshua. Saying to you, hallelujah, Yeshua, praise Yeshua, Hosanna to King Yeshua, praise Yeshua. So, get your pen and paper ready. Again, it is a wonderful class. We're going to be bringing forward, that we have lined up again, we'll be bringing forward some news and current events today. This is more of a news class today, and we've titled it Yeshua's Millennial Prophetic News, YMPN. Yeshua's Millennial Prophetic News. Okay? Real news, real talk for real people. And you'll get the why here and how it relates to prophecy here. And as a disclaimer, as we begin to go forward and move forward with our teachings today, know that all we do at the house of Yeshua, and that's all caps on YouTube, Yeshua is, the house of, all caps Yeshua, and then all we're doing here, or Micaiah on Facebook, M-I-C-H-A-Y-A-H, Micaiah Hawkins on Facebook there. And all we're doing as a disclaimer is bringing forward the prophecies that are written in the scriptures, in the book of Yeshua, the book of Yahweh Yeshua, that the Father has given to Yeshua, and He's written down for us, and bringing forth what's written in the interpretation of it, and that is all we're doing here. Nothing more. And so there's a disclaimer disclosing these things. It's just simply what is written in the prophecies. Okay? I am the Micaiah, or the house of Micaiah, the family of Micaiah. My family and I will be moving forward through the millennial reign to teach these things, to bring forward and honor our King Yeshua. He is worthy to teach righteousness, the law, and the prophets. And that's our goal. And we are tearing down strongholds with the truth. It is written, the law and the prophecies being the Yeliah, the strength of Yeshua. And it's His army and His family and His kingdom and His people. We will always be teaching. We will be exposing always wickedness and always using the tools and the instruments, all things given in heaven and earth to Yeshua, that He will give to us to use for the benefit of all mankind, for the healing of the nations, for the bringing forward of life abundant, to the doing away with all the sickness and disease that we're seeing, and all the false teachings and propaganda that is consuming the nations in the world at this time, so that the veil will be lifted by Yeshua and His family and people. And those things being said, we're going to dive into it here. If you would be opening up, let's look at the book of Matithia. And we're going to be remembering that word summons. Now, I am the Micaiah in Revelation 12 that they thought to throw out at the house of Yahweh on the hill. Now, know this. This is the first. You're only going to get it from the house of Yahshua, the house of Micaiah Eternal, the Lamb's bride. Revelation 12, Micaiah and her. And Pastor told all the men over and over and over that the seventh Molech told us that men, you have to be like a submissive bride. Yeshua's the head over every man. And every man on earth is going to bow his knee and his tongue is going to confess. And all his family members and maidservants and manservants are going to confess that Yeshua is head and king of all kings and head over all. And that's just how that's going. This is going to go. It's going that way, and it's going to continue to go that way. They thought on the hill to take that kingdom, Yisrael leaving his servant and begotten son Micaiah to teach and lead in the prophecies. And for 3 years now, I was teaching what Pastor had said. He calls me on the phone. Yeshua's here, brother. He calls me on the phone regarding the work and the plan. And we talk about the work and the workers. He's no taller than I am. I normally don't take calls that late at night, but I'll take his. So I was bringing forward Yahshua. That's the duty and the job of a bride. That was the duty and the job of this family in this house. And it is, and it always will be, of this family. And Yeshua's family moving forward. And that authority has been given here now. It's been placed here, and by the teachings you can see that it is and has been now. So they thought to throw their brother out because the leadership on the hill have joined themselves to the outside geopolitical sources. And they wanted to silence the message. That's written in Revelations chapter 11. They wanted to silence the message of the men, the man Micaiah, and the men underneath Yeshua's headship, who are now bringing forward Yeshua our King and his kingdom into full fruition as the one true seed of Israel. And it's important to know Israel is the ark. Said the other day, he's not, that Yeshua is. Israel is the ark and he is the seed. But we have to understand these advanced teachings and these deep secret things that are going forward now, that Israel is simply the seed of Yeshua. They were the chosen seed that Yeshua chose and groomed and taught and led and brought up and put into this position. The same with his bride, the house of Micaiah Eternal. Okay? Yeshua is in full control, and he brought forward Yisrael. And all those that were brought here by the message Israel taught were brought here by Yeshua. Yisrael being given everything that he knew and taught and wrote directly from Yeshua our King. So know that all this is coming from Yeshua. He is our teacher, our head, that he is the shepherd, and he's leading and guiding this work. So all those who remain in Yeshua are the true seed of Yeshua, and they are the ark, that the covenant that is now being renewed, as Hebrews says, 10:16 through 26, they're one of my most liked scriptures, Hebrews chapter 10. It's being renewed. There's nothing new in the covenant as far as the covenant agreement, but all things are being made new, and we will be constantly learning new things and growing. Yeshua is so wonderful. He's teaching these things. So this true seed is Israel. The true seed and true ark is Israel, but only because Yeshua is the capital ark, the capital seed, and those who believe into this message that he sends his bride with are the true seed that comes through his bride, begotten through the womb of the house of Micaiah Eternal. Okay? We're looking at Matithia now, and we're looking at that word. Remember, real quickly, that the first name given to me was given to me by a priest from Tennessee, Yigdaya, I believe his name was, or Yigdaya. He was from the Knoxville area. He drove a truck. He used to park over in the Buffalo parking lot. And know that this is only for the believers. On the hill, the Lamb's bride, primarily and firstly and mainly, we're going to go into more of that here in a moment, or a bit here. And for those abroad who can catch up very quickly, because we'll go into why they're blind on the hill and they're not wanting to do the right things, so that if you can catch up out there, those tares, those unbelievers that are not receiving it, it's very easy at this point to surpass them. If you tune into the house of Micaiah Eternal, to the house of Yeshua on YouTube, and to Micaiah, Micayah Hawkins on Facebook, and you really listen to all those sermons and all those presentations there in those different social media sources, and some we've not disclosed, you'll have to dig for it, but they're there. You're going to get the gist of what's occurring locally in Clyde, out in the wilderness of Abilene, Texas, just down the road from the hill, and how they drove away and cast out, since Israel went to sleep, those who were bringing forward Yahshua and tried to put out and distinguish the light that is on the hill. So Matthew chapter 22 is, and let's start out with chapter 22 here. It's on page 749 in your book of Yahshua. And it's the parable of the wedding feast. And Yeshua sent me to them in a meeting. We've covered that, the priest, and they rejected the message that I brought to them in the meeting that we had. And pastor pulled me off a job site with my men to go put up a sign across from the south office that he said pay close attention to. He called me, he pulled me off, and he says, go help put that big white sign up. And it even had Micaiah at the bottom, Micaiah 4:1-3, inviting everybody to the marriage supper, to the wedding feast. So, Matthew chapter 22, and we'll start at verse 1. The parable of the wedding feast and those who were not worthy to attend. And this is only for the believers, so you'll know what's going on internally, and those abroad, so you'll know what's going on internally here locally. Because what's coming is local. We saw that in the Thunderstruck Impact vision there at the bottom on that magazine there. Yeshua answered and spoke to them. This is verse 1, 749, on your book of Yeshua there. And Yeshua answered, Yeshua speaking here, and spoke to them again in parable, saying, the kingdom of Yahshua is compared to a certain king who gave a wedding feast for his son. And he sent out his servants, 2 witnesses or even other witnesses, to summon. And there's that word summon. Underline that word summon. And look at Jeremiah 49:19 and Jeremiah 50:44. Because again, Yekdea from Knoxville, that Khan, he gave me a name that I asked him to give me a name, and he chose the name himself, and he came back to me the next day, and he on a piece of paper, and he said it's Malchiah, Malchiah, appointed by the Creator. Okay, so that name was my initial name for about 3, 4 months, 5 months after I was baptized, Malchiah, appointed. But if you go there to Jeremiah 49:19 and Jeremiah 50 in verse 44, the Father having it in 2 different places, like he always does in several different places, that it says in Jeremiah 49:19 and Jeremiah 50:44, who is it that summons me, who has been appointed by me and who is like me? Well, if you're Yahweh to me and I'm Yahweh to you, or Yahshua to me and I'm Yahshua to you, then I am summoning you, Yahshua. I am summoning you, people of Yahshua or Yahweh or whatever, the true people of Yahweh, the people of Yahshua, to come out and be part of Yeshua's house. Because all things have been given to Yahshua now. There are 2 trees. The tree of the mixture that Hillel is in, her husbandman's house, Yahweh's house, and the tree of righteousness and of life eternal, Yeshua's house, the house of Yahshua, which you're tuned into now, the house of Micaiah, eternal, the Lamb's bride, Revelation chapter 12. Okay? So we see here in Matthew 22, for your notes, now write these things down, that word summon in verse 3. Sent out servant Micaiah, his servant and slave Micaiah, to invite those who were invited to the wedding, but they would not come. Wow. Now look over there there's that word summon, and look over there at G1. Those, G1. Yeshua warns the Yadim about their ingratitude and obstinate malice, in that they rejected the mercy of the Creator, which was so plentifully for 3.5 years offered unto them. They didn't take it seriously. They did not take the invite, and they rejected the mercy, Shimmy Shuffle. We trust in you and in your mercy, Yahweh. Shimmy. This invitation, it's written, Matthew 22 and verse 3, is the mercy of the Father. It's written, black and white, word verbatim. I'm quoting it to you, Shimmy. They rejected the mercy. It's 3.5 years of the same message that this is the marriage supper invite, a gathering. It's going to occur. There's going to be a quick marriage ceremony, a change, and this work, and this news, and this heralding of the kingdom, and this guiding and guarding and protecting and teaching all throughout the earth is going to go. But first, those who are the believers into this message tuning in, the 5 wise virgins, must come out. Okay? Now, they invited those to the wedding, but they would not come. Okay? Sent out other servants again, saying, tell those who are called, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen, and the sheep out there, and the fatlings, and it's all stored up, and the meat, and everything's ready for the ceremony. But they did not take it seriously and went their way. And when one went to his farm, one went another to his business over there somewhere downtown. While the remainder seized his servants and beat them brutally and killed them and thought them to throw them outside the gates. While the remainder seized us and beat them. So when the king heard of this, he was angry with righteous indignation. And he sent out his armies. Sounds like the armies of Yeshua. You could change reference that armies to Revelation, and destroyed those murderers. Wow, destroyed? I have come to destroy the works of the adversary of my Father who sent me, Yeshua said. And burned up, allowed their city to be burned up. Sounds like Revelations 18 to me, where the voice of the Lamb and the bridegroom and the bride had been heard only throughout the history of mankind in the house of Yahweh. And they always had to come out, because for 7 times now, the prideful leadership rose up to kill those with the same mindset to bring forth the Lamb that Abel had and has. Okay? Then he said to the servants, the wedding feast is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the highways, and as many as you can invite them to the marriage. So those servants went through the highways and gathered all together, as many as they found, both evil and righteous. So the wedding was furnished with guests. G4. In the house of Yahweh, the hypocrites and tares are mixed. It's a tree of mixture. It says it in G4. Shimmy. Both evil and righteous. Didn't Pastor say make the tree either total righteous or total wicked? You're going to have to come out, because the house of Yahshua is the tree of life. Okay? The tree of righteousness. But when the king came to see the guest, and he saw there was those that didn't have on, he said to him, for a wedding garment of humility to receive this message. He said to him, friend, how did you get in here without a wedding garment? G6, although the Father allows hypocrites in his house for a time, sounds like 3.5 years, that's the side note, yet he knows how to test them and to send them out. Then the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few feeble are chosen. Okay, so we saw those being summoned there. We saw the 22. So now let's look at Matithia. Now that was the mercy there, Shimmy. The Matithia 20 and verse 8. And I'm proving all things here by what's written. Okay, 20 and verse 8. And Yeshua being the greatest prophet, he foreknew what would come at the very last. That time. Okay, Matithia 20 and verse 8. Yeshua's words again. 747. A palindrome. Wow, look at that, would you? This is talking about when Yeshua said, again, he's speaking of the kingdom of his kingdom. And he said he compared it to workers who went out at the beginning of the day, and they were out idle. They weren't receiving this message and studying it out and going back over the house of Yeshua's message, the house of Micaiah Eternal's message, and they were being idle. So he sent some out to work early in the day, and we know the story that toward the end of the day, he sent some out at the 11th hour. We're looking at verse 8. So when the evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his steward and manager, an overseer, of his house, the house of Yahshua, all things being given to Yahshua in heaven and earth, all authority, and all things being created to place under his feet, Sheol said, summon the laborers. Wow, there's that word summon again. Okay? Said to his steward and manager of his house, summon the laborers and give them their wages, beginning with the last and ending with the first. Okay? So, there in verse 8, we see that the laborers were summoned to be given their reward. There's that word summon again. See, we're seeing these words. It's how you put the tapestry together, so you can see that this word's prophesied with Jeremiah 49:19 and 50 and verse 44 of Jeremiah as well. Okay? But at the ending, so the last who came, who believe in these prophecies and message, it doesn't matter how much you work, what your status is, how much money you have, where you live, who your family members are, how many are on the hill. The last who receive this message will be the first in rank and authority. They will receive an equal, if not greater, position. But none of them on the hill regard anyone as equal or greater than themselves who were in leadership positions now. They are the tares. Okay? So, we see that the first, now, we're going to be, let's look over 23. We saw 8 there. And let's look at 20. Okay. Okay, so we saw that there with that parable that Yeshua brought, that the laborers have been summoned. Okay. And now look at, that was 22 and 3, and then that was 20 and verse 8 that we just covered there. Page 751 for your notes, Matithya, chapter 23. Okay? And look at verse 8. But you are not to be called teacher, he go, and you ain't. For one is great over you, one. Capital O there, and that is Messiah, the greatest teacher of all, in all the earth, alive forevermore. Okay? Verse 12, whoever, as the he-goat, will exalt himself, and those beast men of Daniel chapter 8, under that pretense of their BSPECP, will be abased, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. Now look over at verse 24. This is on 751 in the book of Yahshua. Matithya 23 and verse 24. You blind guides, you beast men of Daniel chapter 8, under that false pretense of peace, who strain at a gnat, then swallow a camel. G11. You seek to stop that which is not against the Father's laws, let pass that which is against his laws. This is Yeshua speaking here, Yahshua. He calls me on the phone. Whoa! Verse 25, to you scribes and you Pharisees on the hill leading, to you hypocrites, for you cleanse the outside of the cup and the plate, but inside they are full of extortions, unlawful compulsions, blackmail. You telling me, I'll tell on you. I'll expose you and reveal what you did, your wickedness. As they all fight for a leadership position that belongs only to Yeshua on the hill. Incontinence, greed, and unrestraint, lack of contentment. You blind Pharisee. That's singular, he go. First cleanse the inside of the cup, he go, and plate, and the outside might also be clean. Doesn't matter how much lye water you use. Matters not one bit. you are unclean. Okay? So, we've looked at these things. We went over a few things from last Sabbath for your notes. And again, we're just bringing forth the prophecy. Turn this heater off here. I've got a little heater going here. Got a nice fire going in there. It's been cold here. We've had some snow here at Able, if you're abroad and tuning in and listening. So, we really want to reiterate a few things because Yeshua and Life-Giving Spirit put these things in my mind he wanted me to touch on that they spoke. And we're about through with last Sabbath. One other note. Laos spoke talking about the spirit and familiar spirits, and we know he saw 3 frogs. We know he's the false prophet in Revelation. There's no question about that. There's not a shadow of a doubt or turning. Laos is the false prophet. He knows it, and we know it also. It's not a guesswork anymore. But he spoke about the Spirit. Yeshua is the life-giving Spirit of the Creator and the Father. It indwells in him perfectly. They are one. He is without flaw in his character and his conduct. But remember what Pastor said, because they shopping carted. Pastor said there is going to come a time, brothers and sisters, when the life-giving Spirit is no longer on this hill or in this place. We remember him saying that. Why? Come down out of the hill, descending out of heaven, newly named, newly authorized. Okay? Because why? And now we're going to go into the why and some news. And this is Yahshua's Millennial Prophetic News. YMPN. YMPN News. Okay? Real news, real talk for real people. So here we go. We have the Cali fires. You want to be checking these sources outside and looking at what's going on the news, because you're not going to get the why. You'll get a little touch of it, but they've joined themselves on the hill to the outside geopolitical sources, so they don't want to give you the why. They have the same mindset, trying to hold on to their kingdom up there, wanting the vision to be theirs and to make it go their own way on the hill, those pretentious beast men. Okay? So we know Pastor said that spirit is not going to be there. He's just there judging. Okay? The Cali fires that we see burning out there, what's really going on? What has been going on all along? What's been going on all along is human trafficking in the tunnels, all the sacrificing and the raping and the sacrificing of children, child trafficking. Also, that the Hill leadership is also joined with the outside geopolitical sources. And also, in the midst of the ruckus, in all the confusion that's going on, that's going to escalate, what's going to occur is they will call up a group from the south. But it will be all the underlings of the cartels. We see on the news with Trump's inauguration closing in quickly now. We see all the things unfolding that they're putting on the green screen and on the television. And some being true and some not. But Yahshua's news, we rightly divide. It's unbiased, real news, real talk for real people. Okay? So, you get on X, you get on YouTube, wherever you can go, type in the correct search words and really dig deep, because this is what's going on in Follywood. It's been going on. We know that that the highest levels of the Illuminati run the show, and they're just holding on like the geopolitical sources they control on the hill for that one moment to try to hold on to their kingdom. So there's a spiritual battle occurring throughout the entire earth, namely on the hill first and foremost, and we'll get to that why here in a moment. We already know why, and again, this is just bringing forth what's written in the scriptures. It's deep in there. You have to seek it out and find it. It's in there, but this is what's really going on for the believers. The 5 whys. So a group from the south, but it we'll come up with one phone call. And I asked Yeshua about 3 years ago, it just popped in Life-Giving Spirit. I says, there's someone that goes down there to get textiles and to do different things. And he's got people in place, and even some of those on the hill with the Latino connection, we know who they are, that are working to bring forward people from the south to have this impression, but they're just underlings and of the cartels. Okay, and while everybody's mind is turned away and eyes are turned away, the distractions and the advertisements from the beastmen on the hill and other places, they're going to bring these people in, and they're going to start coming in more and more as they've been fleeing from California for the last decade now. So just as it is written in Revelation chapter 12, 16, for your notes, a flood is going to come. A flood is going to come. And the woman, Micaiah, right there in Revelation chapter 12, is going to open up her mouth. We're teaching. That's what we're doing now. And we're swallowing up the flood, letting everyone know there are two houses and two trees. The tree of mixture, the house of Yahweh, and the tree of life eternal, Yeshua, to whom all things in heaven and earth were given and belong and were created for, to bring an end to a household where a wife was running around saying, my husband is unfair, I will do as I please, and I will bring forth my sons, my first sons on the hill, the leadership. We are at the beginning of the beginning, brothers and sisters. Okay, rejoice. Our King Yeshua has come, the house of Micaiah eternal, the house of Yeshua, the Lamb's bride. He is working and has been for over 2,000, from the beginning Yeshua has been working of mankind's history. Okay? But boy, especially for the past 2,000 years. And we'll get into that more. A flood is coming, but the earth, the house of Yeshua, the house of Micaiah eternal, opens up her mouth. And we teach all those to come after, they plunder the hill. Okay? They plunder the hill. And that's written. We'll go into that more. The Trump election and the events now rapidly unfolding are going to lead to that burning on that hill. Because they stopped those Yeshua has all abroad the earth for 2,000 years. Yes, even 6, as Pastor said, we went back. Now see the vision in your mind. This is only for the deep thinkers and the believers. See this deep vision. This is the correct vision of how it's going to go and how we're going to teach and be sent out. Okay? The earth for 2,000 years, working until this very moment to bring out his bride, the final 5 wise from the hill, from that deception on the hill that's going on. The elect of the 7th would come out. Or the Father would allow them just to be burned out through circumstances and through their own rebellion, joining with those outside geopolitical sources. Yeshua would just allow it. Because know this. No one is going, and remember now, he allowed Lot to be burnt out, okay? He allowed Lot to be burnt out of Sodom. And we know there in Revelations, in Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 9, and in Revelations chapter 18, we see that burning coming for that city on a hill where the voice of the bride and the bridegroom is. Now, so know this. No one coming up from the south or abroad when the grid goes down and the stuff that the second half of the sorrows comes, and even before this minute little stretch of, hey, look, because the peaceful solution, the BSCEP will go out. It always has been going out from Cain and her ministers. But Yeshua's peaceful solution training, his news, his prophetic vision will only go out from those he has chosen whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Only. And we're going to go out with a power and authority that Yeshua grants and gives that no other people have ever had, approximate 2 billion, and their families who have been changed into celestial light beings. And we're going to go more into that here shortly. But when those people come, listen, they ain't asking nobody for nothing. So either the false beastman, pretentious beast, the he-goat, the lion, decrepit lion, and the louse, and those men, the leopard and those men, they're either most retarded, which they are, or they don't care anything about their own wives and children or any of you, and they don't, saying, well, if we can't have the baby and be the leaders, and my sons can't have it, Allah said, nobody gets the baby, nobody gets it. Story there written that Shlomo judged in the scripture. So that's their mindset and their mentality. It's their pride. It's their greed, again, their covetousness, their extortions, and we just covered that in the book of Matiti there, so for your notes. But Isaiah chapter 13 and Zechariah 14, and both of those chapters, for your notes, prove this, that it's going to be plundered on the hill. Because right there, even in those chapters, which now we can look at all the side notes from the beginning of the book of Yeshua to the end and see it was all written to and about and for the people of Yeshua. But expressly Isaiah 13 and 14, you can chain reference those that is expressly saying, my people who come through the gates, who call by my name and with my name in the last days. It's right there in the context of the text there, okay? I mean, I don't know what else the Father and the prophets and the apostles could have given, and when they see and perceive that the world leaders are backing down, they will flood here, and a few prophecies will be fulfilled. With the house of Yahshua and the house of Micaiah Eternal and the leadership and those who buy and sell from the south, who go down there to do what they do and send Latino ambassadors, Boss Hog, Don Corleone, the Catholic priest, which is important to note because state of Mexico is a corporation that's privately owned. And we're going to get more into those facts here in a moment as well. But so they send those ambassadors down there. So those people are going to be coming up. And those spoiled brats that grew up within that don't care anything about you, and they're not really prophetic or scripturally intelligent in any way. They're the greatest scriptural prophetic retards I've ever seen. And it's written that they are. When they bring those people up, it will be to their own demise and to the demise of any who remain with them. It's just that simple. I'm quoting only what's written and recorded in the life-giving scriptures, and we see it unfolding now, so see this vision. Those events are quickly unfolding, and they will make their phone call saying, come on up, and they'll say to y'all on the hill, hey, it's time, your glorified, peaceful solution teacher position, it's time. Prophecies are being fulfilled, y'all ready to teach? That's what he-goat, lion, and leopard, and all of them will say to you all. But they aren't the ones chosen to teach any longer. They've disqualified and forfeited their positions because they didn't submit to Yahshua and Yisrael's choice, the one Yahweh and Yahshua told Pastor that he left to you all, the house of Micaiah. Now, this point was made by several as this was a joint. I mean, Yeshua and his family members here, we all discussed how this was going to go out to you all today. Several. Even the Christians invoke the name of their false savior. Way far more than those on the hill. I was up there for 15 and even 18 now, never missing a sermon and catching most of their classes and what they're doing and saying. And no, clearly it's crystal clear, as Revelation said, the people of Yahshua would understand it crystal clear now. That it's all internal and coming internally. They don't even invoke Yeshua's name nearly as much as they do their God outside. The Christians are deceived. If those on the hill who say they were believers in leading and guiding under the pretense of peace believed in Yahshua and Ahab him as much as they do their false savior out there, wow, Yahshua would hold back the winds of war, wouldn't he? So that this wicked leadership that seeks to destroy those delivering this message of Yahshua they're sent with, and all that's been through the 6 out that's been sent with this message from the beginning, that Yahshua is King of Kings, he's worthy, and all things in heaven and earth have been given over into his hands and under his authority. Okay? They invoke, and they're ready. They'll go off to war on behalf of theirs. But none on the hill. Yeketsky said there, I believe it's chapter 7. Every man be prepared for war, but none will go out to battle. None will stand on Yeshua's part or even invoke his name even near as much as the Christians do theirs. The God worshippers stand against what they perceive to be evil religions. The evil politicians that they perceive are evil. Yet none on the hill will stand for the children of Yahshua. Save Daniel 12:1. A man named Micaiah. A house, a family of those who long to be like Yahshua. who worked diligently to bring him forward to invoke his name, to call upon him. Knowing the scriptures, it's written, he is the greatest teacher. Petite 23 and verse 8. All this occurring. Now, so what does that say about the audacity to even believe that Yeshua would ever send those men on the hill out to teach on his behalf? What does that say about the audacity to look at all of you in the eye on Sabbath day and say that? All this is occurring in California on the south and on the hill at the same time. It's occurring in the Mideast with Iran. We're hearing Trump made an address through the course of the week to the nations, to the United States, to the nations there, in a briefing at a lectern there. All this while Trump is about to be inaugurated. Okay? Therefore, remember Revelation 18. The burning of the city. The burning of the city is speaking of the hill. And that must come first. It's going to come first. Yahshua is going to seal up the remainder of his bride, that little small feeble remnant, many are called but few are chosen, from the seventh era, just as he has the other eras. A little tiny group always came out. It's written. In every era they went the way of Cain, the leadership did. In the majority. Because they weren't willing to stand and fight the righteous fight on Yahshua's behalf. And the ones that were all slaughtered and murdered and plotted against and schemed against and laughed and mocked and scoffed. But they were the ones he resurrected. Okay, and we're going to go into that more also here in a moment. So, it is written, so don't be deceived by the green screens. All this Hillel is using to destroy Yahshua and his bride. Don't be deceived. All these things are being done to destroy Yahshua's people and family, and the bride on the hill, and throughout this area. And throughout the earth. Any form of holiness, Pastor said. But namely and expressly, the hill first. Revelations 18. Because she knows that there's a group of people on that hill that believe into this message. Okay? Therefore, she will not be partial to her own. She's not going to be partial. Preparing her own children for slaughter, as it is written. In an effort to destroy Yahshua and the five wise brides, she is working to destroy Yeshua's bride and family on the hill and in this immediate area here. Because remember, if you don't think so, and it's not this deep, and they aren't tuning in listening, you've made the biggest goofball, prophetic, scriptural retard mistake of your entire life. Because remember, the one that they turned into a golden calf said, Pastor said, all forms of holiness, even the tares who have an appearance, but they're only doppelgangers, bring forth doppelgangers. They seek to destroy. That's why you must come out of her. The old bride is not going to come out. They just had to do it their way. They just had to do it their way. Okay? So the same thing they wanted for 6,000 years for Yeshua's people and family is what they're trying to do on the hill, that leadership in unity with the outside geopolitical sources. Being given ultimatums, and they are fearful and unbelieving. Okay? This is crucial to really understand what's occurring. Yeshua has an army of white hats all over the earth, moving and shaking. And he has from the beginning of mankind's history. Yeshua is a mover and a shaker. And he has got legions upon legions, 2 billion for sure, ascending and descending, taking on different roles. If Hollywood can do it, and we know these different demonic spirits that Krause invokes, or Laus invokes, and that has banged on his window, that Laus has brought there with the teachings that he brings forward on the screen in front of your wife and children. We know that they have those things. We know these beings who trespassed, but how much more now that those that Yeshua of our forefathers have been resurrected of the 2 billion, how much more now, for we were created a little bit below those beings, but after Yeshua has been resurrecting and crowning for 2,000 years, yes, going back even after he qualified, transcending space and time, as Pastor said, we went back and taught Adam all the way down, giving that same ability and authority, yes, even far greater, for you shall crown us far above these angels and other malachim that are spirit beings that have been waiting on all this to unfold and come to its fruition, the full sealing up of the 7th era with this knowledge. So what you see, for the lack of a better way to describe it, is a spiritual warfare between black hats, child abusers, satanic reptilian hybrids, and the human Cain bloodline that is fighting against a group of white hats under Yeshua's leadership and authority, more than one place at one time. She was constantly zooming around the earth. Our forefathers that he resurrected, Father, I need your Ketski, I need your Rindik. Can I have them? And, well, of course, my son. You've proven faithful and trustworthy, and will use them only for the benefit of mankind, to save mankind and all creation. Absolutely, my son Yahshua. Go ahead. Fighting against visiting dignitaries, able to use the microbes to change their appearance, all under Yeshua's explicit, perfect instructions to bring forth the salvation of mankind. All glory to King Yeshua. Hallelujah, Yeshua. Praise Yeshua. Okay? Trying to stop the evil one, and Yeshua is allowing all this, is they're trying to stop our forefathers and all those who've been crowned higher than the Malachim, waiting on the final ones here to be crowned, given the highest offices through this reasoning. Come, let us reason together. Allowing all of this to play out for the sake of sealing the few remnant on the hill who will come out. All of this, if he gave men and women for Israel's ransom, as written in Isaiah 43 and 44, and we are Yisrael. Oh, I'm Yisrael. I am Yisrael Hawkins. Well, how much has he done and given for your lives? But the mercy and the ingratitude, this is the mercy and the invitation for 3.5 years. All this being done for those who will come out. Pastor knew they had crept in as they produced a fake letter, and others told me to say these things. Yeshua, and we saw who gave that to KM. The he-goat handed it to KM. All leaving a fake letter saying they left the priest in charge. Yeshua always left, and this is what I was told to say by others in unity with this work. It's growing fast. Yeshua always leaving someone, one man, in charge to guide and lead. Okay? Yeshua, in his peaceful solution training and teachers, are coming to you. And justice, Yeshua is the justice. Justice is coming. And the outside geopolitical sources know it. That's why you're seeing all these burnings, all these earthquakes, all these unnatural disasters. They're not real. They're doing certain things to make these things come about. The outside geopolitical sources know, because as above on the hill are what's supposed to be all the heavens. They're supposed to be above in rank and authority, excelling in righteousness. But the leadership isn't. They've joined themselves to the same mindset, ascending to the 7 hills of Rome with their ideology. Yes, even taking instructions from the Latino connection there from Rome, who owns Mexico. But they know it. So they use, now go look at your sources, X, YouTube, Google it, direct energy weaponry, laser technology, to try to get out ahead of what's coming, the justice. The army of Yeshua is coming. Yes, to a city near you. Oh, first it said, you said it would not come near me, Moshe chapter 9. It will come near you now. And fire will come down out of heaven, invisible laser beams, till you be no more. It's written. On the hill first. All a prelude to build up, because she wants to destroy Yahshua and his people and where they're at. Okay? The like-minded know it. Remember, Lot was summoned to come out. Summoned to come out as a laborer and a teacher and a man of Yahshua, bringing forth the Lamb. Remember, as above, so below. As above on the hill, so below. And as below, what's going on outside? Inside. They've joined themselves, heart-mind connection. Same ideology mindset. Deuteronomy 23. So now, what we're seeing is, and what we're going to see is, and we'll go into why, is we're going to see these earthquakes. We see the earthquakes in place after place, but the total end isn't yet. Because they're going to try to destroy the hill and the people of Yahshua and the Lamb's bride. And the bride and the bridegroom, and they will have to come out and descend down out. Newly authorized, only with the 5 wise, few feeble who will come out. Okay, as it is written, putting it all together. Okay, praise Yahshua. Earthquake, they use earthquake machines, small tactical nukes, whatever they can use to blow up the tunnels, to try to destroy evidence, to try to frighten people with earthquakes, and to destroy the evidence of their underground tunnels. You can see the fires and the Palisades there are all these quote-unquote highfalutin Hollywood superstars there that have committed these atrocities. They sold out and were told at the beginning of their careers we all know it. It's all over YouTube everywhere. You can't come to the end of the sources on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube that testify that even these other actors have escaped with their lives. Even some others who just took on other roles to push forward their propaganda and agenda, and they faked their deaths. And in the same way, these things have been done rather after 3 days and 3 nights, individuals being resurrected to be used by Yahshua as his tools and instruments, he buying and paying for us all in the immediate family, to go forth throughout the earth to bring these things that they know now. The highest levels out there, those on the hill know this is true also, and work to fight against it, that Yeshua's Malachim are completely covering the earth. Subduing it. And it's coming very close now to being totally subdued. After those are sealed up on the hill with this message from Yahshua that only Yeshua can give. Yahshua Unity Confederacy here from the House of Micaiah Eternal. And all those bringing the bits and pieces together here. This is the Yeshua's news. The millennial prophetic, Yeshua's millennial prophetic news. Real news, real talk for real people. Now, if you look it up, what's going on in Cali, you'll see on X, look at all the sources, they found human remains. Okay? They were powder and ash, direct energy weaponry, fire, lasers, and even the rod of what they call the rods of God. Okay? Using these different things to create these fires. And we'll go into why here real soon. Those who use this technology, this weaponry, they know that Yahshua, his coronation has occurred, as the other another witness brought that his coronation on Tabernacle's last great day, 2024, the one true seed, the coronation, coronation, Hallel, and the highest level, prophetic think tank, who've always tried to look into the future with some looking glass technology or some savant or somebody who could remotely review, just look into or understood the prophecies, always trying to find the future so they could detour Yahshua, his family, and his kingdom, and the final sealing up of the bride on the hill, who will be able to move around like Pastor said. Those who use the weaponry technology know that Yeshua's coronation and his family sealing up would be sealed up. Of all the beings they deal with, they know the positive ones belong to Yeshua. They are his workers in Malachim, the 2 billion plus. Even those alive now, and before they've received that final gift and change of becoming that celestial light being that are working covertly on the hill inside. Others being some who have been resurrected that are there that you can't perceive. Just after Yeshua was resurrected, they couldn't perceive him. Luke chapter 24, from any other man. He walked through the wall that was there in the room. The doors were shut, the windows were locked, and the doors were locked. And he appeared to Thomas and his disciples in the room, and they all were amazed. How did he get in here? So this ability is going on the hill and all throughout. When you go to the grocery store, when you go to the gas pump, when you go to the register at the convenience store, everywhere you go to guide and steer each one of Yahshua's family and those he chooses for his immediate family members, and to guide the wicked in the wrong direction so that they don't harm the family of the plan. These beings of the 2 billion from Adam all the way down who've qualified, been resurrected by Yeshua, and those he's resurrected and employed to resurrect others, is a ripple effect. It's all coming into view now, isn't it? This is the correct vision. This is the plan from the beginning. This is the plan now. And this is the plan forevermore. It always has been, it is, and always shall be, and there is no other. Praise Yeshua. Living water. Okay? They know these positive belong to Yeshua, the 2 billion spiritually, and then there's going to be even more will resurrect, and some will be swinging their gates open after they see. Just as it's all over the news, the fire is burning abroad, it will be all over the news what occurs here locally. Their prelude is everything that's going on abroad. Okay? She knew the time, Hallel. Though on the hill and abroad they don't fully understand it. That's given to Yeshua and the Lamb's bride, the house of Makai Eternal, the house of Yeshua, and the house of Makai Eternal, the Lamb's bride. Do not be deceived now. Remember, you have to know. You can't believe it or think it, well, maybe. You have to know. Because Pastor said, all those, brethren, all those that was killed in the Holocaust, Hallel was trying to kill me and my brother. She was looking for 2 men. How many millions of men in the Holocaust of what they call, quote unquote, Jews, which is just a slanderous name for a Hebrew, but all of us coming from the 12 tribes. And then those who gave their lives for their own God and their cause, Jesus Krishna, and for all the different factions and militia groups around that were involved in World War I and World War II, trying to kill off Pastor. How much more trying to kill Yeshua and a final group of men bringing forth the magnified teachings of Yeshua and Israel and the prophets, the apostles. The house of Makai Eternal, the Lamb's bride, the house of Yeshua, our King, our husbandman. So how much more would they try to kill us off here? Okay? Hallel wanted to kill. So a work in a city. So now Yeshua knew Moshe chapter 3. He knew the scriptures. He was the one that went back and sent us backward and forward on the timeline, Pastor said, to teach it from Adam all the way down. So put that together with Moshe chapter 3 and 6. Yeshua understood it even deeper than we do. Will a city fostered by religious impostors under the pretense of peace, Daniel chapter 8, Revelation 17, beast men, Yechezkiah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, all of them, Hosea, they all spoke of those beast men at the very last on the hill that would be ruling under the pretense of peace with their BSCEP, twisting the concepts to harm the women and the children with that same mindset that's going on with the Follywood there in Follywood and abroad with the green screen that's occurring abroad. No, that pastor said they did all this to destroy him and his brother, and now their seed, the seed of Yahshua, the one true seed that was promised to Abraham now in the Lamb's bride, the very, very, very few, for the righteous are scarcely saved, that will come down off the hill with him. Okay, descending out of heaven, newly authorized, newly named, newly authorized, newly named. The last, coming at the very last in the bungalows, who laid it all down, we're going to be first. Okay? You're being summoned, laborers. Plenty of food, plenty of tents, plenty of sleeping bags, wood-burning stove, plenty of firewood, plenty of clothing, plenty of food and shelter provided by Yahshua, led and guided at every step of the way. Through many Malachim, many Malachim, who we received, not just me, but others involved in this work that join themselves, and afterwards they go, well, you're not going to believe this, but a man I've never met in my life, I bumped into the store, told me my whole life story, what was occurring here in Abilene, Micaiah. And I said, I know, sis, told you. And women are coming up to me saying, a woman sat down next to me in the dentist office, Micaiah, and started telling me everything that occurred in my life from the time I was a child. I never even told my own our mom and dad, Micaiah. And I said, now you're saying what I've been seeing, right? Only gets greater and better throughout the millennial reign. Yep. We're going to go to all these cities. But back to Moshe 3:6. Will a work being done on the hill fostered by those religious impostors be done, and Yahshua not have a work going on internally also? This is that work. Their mindset is the same as mine. I'm speaking it under the authority to do it and bring it forward. Him telling me, yes, we keep teaching. I asked him this week. I would not have come again. The bride must decrease. And we must bring forth Yahshua. We must decrease. Oh, Yisrael, with his house. This is the beast man and my dog and my counselors and this person over here and that person over there and this person over here and under the high watt, their vision. That has to decrease within us. And we have to know it's this vision I'm delivering to you that I never in a trillion years could have thought up. It's Yahshua's vision, his alone, and he gives it to whom he chooses. Revelations 12 to Micaiah, his bride, those who join themselves to this work with their testimonies, Revelation 12. He will open up their mouths, Revelations 12 and 16, to swallow up any flood of lies, any false accusations against the immediate family of Yahshua, the Lamb's bride here, this work going here. Because every city has religious impostors. The daughters of the whore are in every nation on earth and in those 10 kingdoms on earth. Just the same way as that same mindset is represented all 4,199 religions on the hill. So will all that work be being done in those cities? And Yahshua not have a work being done there? It's not going to go the way that you think. It's not the way we all thought. You know how I know? Yahshua told me. You know how I know? It is written. First, on the hill, the cleansing comes. It's just a prelude what we're seeing out there. It's just a prelude to what's coming on the hill. Moshe 3:6. More land, a new heaven and a new earth. A new body, Pastor said we'd be given. Meaning a new governing administration under the headship always, not even a close second to Yahshua and those of his choosing. And then new earth, well they know out past an infinite flat plain. They know that there's plenty of clean, healthy, undefiled land that's not been touched by mankind out beyond in an infinite straight line. Just like a clock in every direction. They know that. Pastor didn't disclose certain things because it wasn't detrimental to salvation. Wasn't. And he didn't want to bring agencies in who make trillions and trillions of dollars who were being exposed before the time came for them to be exposed. Okay? Because outside of this firmament straight ahead are other firmaments and other areas in extra-terra beings. extraterritorial beings. Okay? Some have trespassed. Some came here under instructions to guide this plan to bring forward the all 7 heirs, the bride, the Lamb's bride, and the final few chosen from the hill. This message is only what's in the prophecies. All as a disclaimer, we're doing is bringing forth the law and the prophets. Okay? This is real news, real talk for real people. Yeshua's millennial prophetic news. Okay? Search it out. And you'll find these answers. So, new heaven, and there are new portions of the earth. We will be moving around very quickly. Those who qualify and follow the Lamb out, down and out, or wherever he might go. Okay? Search it out. Rome has complete control over Mexico. It is a Roman corporation. It is a Jesuit hub and headquarters. For your notes, x.com, Truth Seeker. x.com, and type in Truth Seeker and look through there, and you'll see that Rome and Mexico has the same bird. The man called it an eagle. Looks like a phoenix to me. And the same colors and the same configuration on their flag as we all know. It is a central hub for Rome, and the cartels are coming up from there, sending their underlings, and also people from all over the world are coming up through that entry point there. Okay? So, the technology with the lasers, they have guns now, and I just watched a video before I got on here that my sister sent me of a gun you can hold in your hand, and it shoots a laser beam, and you even in broad daylight, and you can't see the beam, and it showed it being shot from 30, 40 feet away, and quickly will burn right through metal. Now imagine a beam coming from the nose of a plane, so high up you can't see that plane, and being shot down on locations targeted, where it doesn't hurt the tree, the brown tree with the green foliage, the green roof, and the brown body trunk of the tree, like a big cedar tree to the east. Greens, your greens, and your blue, like the water, it can't pick up. As they mapped out with their Starlink, the lands around here, mapping it out, but the malfunction or the technology, they still struggle to map out what's a tree and isn't when they see the greens, and what's water and what isn't when they see the blue. Because the laser is guided by computer technology that will leave a tree standing in its place and burn a car to ash, burn a man to ash, and leave his bones there. Look at those things online. And leave the tree right there unscathed in any way. Okay? So, if they've got it on lasers, now, you know, these things, they've got it, in laser guns, they've got it on those planes, and it's shown there, and they've tried to hush that down and calm that down a lot, but this is how they're doing it, and they try to call it arson, because they know everyone's catching on to what they're doing. So they're calling it arson, and they try to find some scapegoat. That's what they've always done, to try to hide their catacombs. That it's just a pattern of what's done in Rome and the Vatican, how they harm children, and their Baphomet sacrifices that Laos and them show you on the hill pictures of Baphomet, and the names of Roman holidays and pagan holidays, and again those familiar spirits that Laos was trying to teach to your wives and children on the hill on Sabbath day. Knowing that the life-giving spirit is Yeshua's, the pastor said that spirit is not going to be in this place at one time. What if? Okay? Okay, so don't be deceived by those men on the hill. Again, Truth Seeker, x.com, Truth Seeker. Okay? When they trigger, and they've been bringing up those children, one last thing about Mexico, they've been bringing those children up, and with their child, in their human trafficking rings. And so we know those who make their visits down that way. Okay? It's real. Do not deceive yourself. Me even being told that by Malachim, that the things that are occurring on the hill, you're not even touching the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg yet, Micaiah. Okay? That's being done by the leadership. And that the outside sources are pressuring them into doing. Okay? Again, they trigger their destruction in Cali and in other places. And it's going to affect here in a chain reaction. Full fruition of the reign of Yahshua Messiah, the millennial reign, which we know began in 97, won't come until the wicked on the hill first. And throughout, but namely on the hill first, are either bring their own self-destruction, which is what rejecting those that the Father and Yahshua and Yisrael leave to you to guide you, knowing that those they leave to guide, they're going to be directly communicating with, and it ain't none of your business how or when. You have to trust in it. It's your test, our test. You have to rightly divide, because along the way I'm tested too. And we have to prove all things just as the house of Micaiah Eternal does. Remembering that Lot itself was brought out, summons to come out before that Sodom in Isaiah chapter 3 and 9 and Revelations 18. That city called Jerusalem spiritually. Remember now, you can also go to x.com. These are your sources now. And others wanted, called, and said, just give them these few. And I says, okay. X.com Squawk. That's SQUAK 55. Squawk 55. X.com. And it gives you the technology. It even shows you the diagrams and the patents of the looking glass, where they take savants and children who have special gifts and can remote view, and they take others who know the prophecies, these deep things of some of the 7 eras who have left out and away and went and joined themselves to those geopolitical sources, and they fish to try to stay out ahead of the prophecies in an effort to prevent Yahshua's kingdom from coming into full fruition. So it's called Project Looking Glass, where they can kind of see and tap into the minds of people and kind of get an idea of what prophetic vision would come and to see into the future, a form of their time travel. So they use all these technologies and gifts given to remote viewers and others who are given visions and prophetic understanding by Yahshua only, and they try to steal that away to try to prolong their lives, to get that glimpse in, to see what they could do to thwart Yeshua's plan. And he knows what they're doing. He's always out ahead of them. He lives in the future. Okay? But one thing that this man said here at Squawk 55, Looking Glass on X.com, was that they tried to look through that technology to see and use other technology to kind of project what might occur and the codes and different things. And it all ended right at 97. They really couldn't get a clear view of what would occur from that point. Wonder what occurred in 97. Okay? Because only Yahshua and his family, his bride, the house of Micaiah Eternal, those who long to be like him and to receive this message he told me to come to you with. Okay? Only they understand it and understand it, okay? Okay? And all this is a chain reaction until all those on the hill are either destroy themselves and throughout the earth, or they completely submit to Yahshua, his authority and headship that he sends to them to teach, his army, which has nothing to do with the BSCEP. Nothing. Those who twist and to harm the children and to gain their own ends. Okay? Alright. Moving forward. So, that's that. And then we've got a few closeout statements here. Gotta get ready finish getting ready for the Sabbath day. Here we've had a few cold days. So everything is in order. Prepare a little salad here. And I have made some chicken Parmesan. Wonderful. I mean, not that great of a cook, but my sister Yazalia makes great Italian food, and she clued me in on a couple of her recipes, and man, some great chicken parmesan, and might be a little salad with some ranch to go along with that, using that Meinberger goat milk, trying to stay as close to the clean and acceptable, doing everything the way Pastor taught us to do it. Under Yeshua's telling him to give it to us. They want, now remember, closing out here, I've got to reinforce this into your minds. This is what you have to keep in your mind, or you'll lose. You'll remain up there, and you'll sustain those losses, as is written. Because those who have this message, more will be given, and those who have not, even all they have will be taken away. Yeshua being the greatest prophet, always foretelling what would be at the very last. They want to destroy Yahshua, our King, and you and your families and the bride of Yahshua, the seventh era. That's their ultimate goal. That's Hillel's ultimate goal. Everything else to them will fall into place if they can do that. They want to destroy the family in this final part and the plan, and thwart the plan, stop the plan. And they will send out doppelgangers, Hollywood people playing many different roles. Could be one of their Hollywood people over here, and they've got some prosthetic on, or some plastic surgeon did a job on them. We've got to kill you off, and they'll have a fake on the green screen or on the television. And a bunch of their wicked, evil people in their ideology will vow that they just had a funeral for such and such. Okay? And backstage, they'll all have a meeting and laugh. Okay? So the final part, and you can only continue to understand this if you do what Pastor said with the 8th cleanse. We have someone who is a homeopathic healer and cleanser. A sister, my sister, Yazalia, said, and she said, in being given instruction by Malachim, continue, as Pastor said, to cleanse your pineal gland. Pastor said, take your fish oil, study out the greatest omega-3 fish oils that you can take daily, twice a day in the morning before you head out to work, and then before you go to bed. Fish oil and magnesium. And you do your research. Some is not absorbed in the colon. It could even harm the colon, different types. Do take the best magnesiums that you can. Check your capsules. Make sure they are vegan. And then that pineal gland will need psilocybin in a very small amount while you study the scriptures to even keep on, or your life-giving garments. Shut yourself off. Turn this on at the same time with that small amount of psilocybin. Plenty of water with plenty of salt, she said. She said, do not forget what Pastor said, to take your butter and honey to make that connection. And she also said, and Yeshua told me to take this because I studied through the week. I think I made mention this Sabbath day, that the black walnut tincture, even the powder form, mixed correctly like this, right there on the instructions or on the back. And that black walnut tincture with the cloves and the wormwood heals most all forms of cancers, namely and expressly colon cancers. It's known knowledge. Study it out. She said, take your black walnut tincture daily. Okay? And it only takes a little bit, enough to take out the microbes that might be causing stress or anxiety, so that you can rejoice in this message doing all these cleansings. Because Revelation 18:3, another voice came out of the house saying, that has been made open for all of you. And this was said before, so the court jester can't say it. Through exposing the wickedness, the house of Yahweh's wickedness and iniquity has been exposed, and the house of Yahshua is made open for all to see. Nothing hid, nothing pretentious in the message we bring. In courageous uprightness do we stand for and bring forth our King, as false accusations and hatred, mocking and scoffing is brought against this family and house and this work. That's just everything Pastor said in that last few years of his life. He's really began to magnify that, which I've not heard any of from the pretentious beastmen on the hill in 3 years. So Revelation 18:3, come out of her, my people, that you partake not of her sins, that you will not receive of her plagues. The fire come down out of heaven. In that great city you will weep and wail and mourn. Written only to the believers, for the believers, by the believers, and about the believers. Okay? And what would occur to their immediate family members? That's my grandson. That's my granddaughter. That's my sister. That's my daddy. That's my mama. That's my brother. Got some serious, most difficult, proving to Yahshua choices to make. And they have to be made quickly. Okay? We've been summoned. We saw that. And remember, all this was done. Pastor said even all those people in World War II to try to destroy him. How much more so a little tiny flock on the hill and around this area? Because there's a lot around this area here. Lady been telling me they threw them out for saying the same things and trying to warn everyone. As the Father Yahshua is a warner. He's a protector, and the greatest warning, and the greatest protector, and the greatest provider, the greatest shepherd. And all this is being done as a prelude to come upon the hill to try to destroy. Okay? So, continue to go back and review what was taught. This has been Yahshua's Millennial Prophetic News. Real news, real talk for real people. Go back, review it. Cleanse your pineal glands as you're doing it, and spread the great news. Yahshua our King has come for 2,000 years. He is now among us as he who serves, and he's gathering everyone together into this message, into the sheepfold as we herald him in. His bride does, the house of Micaiah Eternal, the Lamb's bride, and that gathering is now occurring within your minds, heart-mind connection, and you will have to relocate, okay? And those things being said, this has been your Yeshua's prophetic news to you all. Millennial prophetic news. Well, Reverend Joshua, close out. Almighty Heavenly Father Yahshua, King of all kings and ruler of all rulers and teacher of all teachers, a servant and a slave, your begotten Son, Micaiah Jacob, asking to approach your throne, calling out in unity with all those who are like-minded after the order of Melchizedek, being your seed and your servant, the one true seed prophesied to Abraham, the seed of Yahshua, you being the true seed, Yahshua, and your children and offspring. Yahshua, we do ask to come before you, you being our head, our Father, the greatest teacher in all the universe and all the earth and in all the world, having no equal or second, a close second among men. Yahshua, you being our judge, in our righteousness, our mercy, and all things pure and life-giving come down out of the Father. Yahshua, do we ask to come before you this very day, this prep day. Shalom, Abba Yahshua. We thank you and we rejoice in you for this message. It's joyful to us, Yahshua. We know that we are part of you, and as long as we continue in this message and in this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that comes only from you, for you alone have opened these seals and have given to your bride and opened them in your bride's mind to give to your people and to all those who were to receive now, Yahshua, and who would partake of your wife's flesh, you and her being one with your bride, the house of Micaiah Eternal, her flesh being the flesh of your flesh, and your sons and daughters on the hill and abroad and from all areas who've been resurrected. They are flesh of your flesh. They are your children, your sons and daughters, your brides. You are all things to us, Father Yahshua, and we are flesh of your flesh. And all those who partake of this message, that those that have been sent out to those cities doing that work from the beginning of the 6,000-year history of mankind, yes, expressly even the last 2,000 years, Yahshua, as you've gone forth throughout place after place, walking at the speed of light, going throughout to bring forward your message to guide to this point of the millennial reign where these teachings would go out, heralding in your kingdom, the kingdom of Yahshua, King of all kings. And we bless you and thank you that you've called and chosen us to do so. Please help us to be perfect and walk uprightly in your sight always, Do not allow us to be led into temptation in any way, but restrain the adversary, Yahshua, and give us a heart and mind of humility and of servitude to ask how we could help bring forward the house of Yahshua, the tree of righteousness of which there is no mixture, Yahshua, in you. And we bless and magnify your name, Yahshua. We see the new authority and the new body and the new earth and the teaching and the way we will go forward as celestial spirit light beings and the changing that's going to come as we're gathered here in a ceremony to bring you forward, and we eat you and all those who eat and consume you and your bride and your family members moving forward throughout the millennial reign will never die, for it is written throughout the book of Matthew and throughout your writings, Joshua, that you gave to your disciples and to all those down through the ages, transcending both space and time on the timeline, Yahshua. We magnify your name and we bless you and we thank you for this great prep day study and this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that only comes from you, great King Yahshua. You shall not be denied, and you shall have no rivals upon the earth nor in the universe. All things being given and placed under your feet, great King Yahshua. And we thank you for this understanding and this joy, and we ask that you would help now that all your people would unite, that they would take a stand in righteousness and invoke your name over and over and over and bring them in their speeches and in their studies, and that you would open the seals within their minds of those final ones who will be descending with you and coming out of the deception, that we might be a light to all nations and bring you forward in their heart and minds daily, Yahshua, and be used according to your righteous pleasure to bring forth your plan and vision and will, Yahshua. Offering ourselves up to you to do these things according to your will and pleasure, Yahshua, saying to you out of your house, the house of Makai Eternal, the Lamb's bride, the house of Yahshua. Hallelujah, Yahshua. Hosanna to King Yahshua. Praise King Yahshua. Praise Yahshua. What an awesome class. This is it. This is the plan. This is the message. It always has been. It is. It always shall be. And there is no other. Enjoy. Yeshua bless your prep day.